want to welcome you to this short webinar, and the focus will be on engagement during remote learning part of the instructional day. As you get ready to reopen schools, that our whole instructional framework will begin to change. And this idea of engaging in that new framework will become paramount. My name is Mike Barney, and I'm in instructional services for Riverside County Office of Education. Of course, anything, we want to start with a good quote. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how do those great teachers really reach out to their students and connect with them, that make and motivate those students to want to do more and more and more. We're going to focus on three areas because we don't believe one strategy will work. So we're going to focus on three areas in a child's life. One is, of course, the teacher relationship with the students. The second is the engaging also with the family and or caregivers for that child. And then finally, helping students to connect with their peers. So we're really going to look at multiple solutions, and there's really not going to be one solution for this motivation. So the first thing we're going to look at is increasing the engagement in the classroom, in the remote classroom. So yes, we'll be back in the classroom, and yes, we'll have face-to-face time. But how can we do a better job of preparing our students for distance learning? And will we need to be doing more distance learning than we historically have not done in the past? So the way to increase that engagement, first of all, post regular announcement. Make them funny. Say, give weekly reminders of all the due dates. As we always say, with any kind of work you do, over communicate. And I think with kids, the more humor you bring into it, the more they will remember you. And when they reply back, you respond early and often, all the time. It's not these long emails back. It's a quick saying, hey, I got your message. Hey, I'll call you at, or I got your message. Why don't you try this? Or here's a link to that will help you understand that question. So it's those kinds of things that we need to do as teachers. And then ultimately, always remember that the feedback and that personal connection you make to that child and start understanding the perspective of that child will be huge, So it doesn't always have to be phone, text. It could be a video feedback. You could do virtual meeting with the child. It doesn't mean it always has to be through an email, a text, or through a Zoom conference. And then most importantly, because of the physical connection that we're going to try to make with students, it's going to be more problematic with our social distancing. So why not have virtual office hours? So it really goes back to the third bullet, doesn't it? It's that idea of making that personal connection. But I want you to remember, virtual office hours do not need to be one-on-one sessions. They could be small group sessions. That you have kids that either can help each other or kids that have the same issue and that you're going to assist through them. Now that we've looked at the kid, well, how do we actually help with parent engagement in that remote classroom? We won't have parents coming to schools. We won't have parents stopping by classrooms. We won't have that immediate connection with parents. So how do we connect? Of course, we connect with parents with the historical way of making phone calls. Of course, text and friendly emails. Also, I think providing a schedule and making sure that schedule is structured and that it's very consistent so parents can plan out their lives with their child. Now keep in mind, I said a child, but we know most families have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. So we've got to plan out their schedule, plus on top of their work schedule. So ultimately, the more scheduling you can give and the more times you can give when you're going to meet in classes on the computer and when the activities are due, it's really important, really important. And also, I know you're helping your students with their technical support, but also offer that technical support to parents. So, and what you can do, and either through yourself, if you have the expertise, or through your tech department, offer some short videos, or do a Google search for a particular issue that parents are having, so that you can even help parents in outside the instructional, but actually help them with some technical support. The other one is that we know we're inundated with emails, with communication, even though it is always about communication. And I know I said on this previous slide, communicate as often as you can. But it doesn't mean you have these long emails, that your emails are short and to the point. One of the key ones that I always talk about is I always try and told my teachers, and now I tell my other consultants that I work with, that guys, can you keep your emails down to 7 words, to 9 words? And really what I'm trying to do is trying to keep those emails short and concise and to the point. And then more importantly, have a survey with parents. As you start the year off and you try different things out, survey your parents. How did it work? What did you miss? Remember, the best teacher also is a teacher that sincerely believes that they can get better every day. And the only way to get better as a teacher is start getting feedback from your students on how things are going, but also more importantly on your parents and your caregivers. And then the last group we want to do, and I think it's one of the most important ones I think kids live for, is really helping those students to facilitate those distance relationships with their peers. So you could start with prompts that add to a discussion, and then you let kids interact with them. Now, making sure those prompts are open-ended, but you can use a variety of social learning tools like Flipgrid. And the whole purpose of it is to have kids go back and forth and have a discussion about a particular topic. So the face-to-face meeting that you have with the children could be after they've done some research on a topic, and you have kids discuss that topic together in the face-to-face. Make sure that when you have kids in front of you, make sure that they have opportunities to speak and share as much as you do as the teacher. But more importantly, use the breakout room system in your video program. That breakout, and if you don't have breakout rooms, you can always create new links that kids could go to so they could be inside a room with another small group of kids so they could be helping complete assignments. And then more importantly, group assignments. With Google Classroom, group assignments become quite easy. Teachers can monitor those group assignments because they can be watching kids as they're inputting into those group assignments and asking kids questions and prompting kids to move forward and to discuss and to help out. But then most importantly, also make sure you have time for kids to share. And yeah, we want them to share the group assignments, and they'll do those presentations that they've historically done in classrooms. They just might do it virtually now, but also have opportunities for people to share their expertise, their hobbies. You could be looking at a variety of ways. We know when we listen to a child, which a lot of our kids know more about the technology than we do, spotlight that child and say, hey, let's listen to Johnny as he talks about how to include this in your slideshow, in your Google slideshow. And it'll be important for that student. First of all, to build credibility with you, and then more importantly, credibility with their peers. I am not just one person. I am so fortunate that I work with a team of people. And we are content experts at Riverside County Office of Education. And our job is simply to connect to our schools and our districts in Riverside County. So if you need any help, this is a list from math, history, social science, ELA, ELD, special ed, STEM, art. You go through the list, and we are here to help you to provide direct services to yourself, to your school, and also to personal. We can be offering virtual coaching if that's what you need, and you just need somebody to play ideas off. Please email one of these people, and they will be happy to help you out. So I just want to thank you very much. And it looks like we do have a few questions. So the first question that I see is, how should a school approach this issue of student engagement? And really, a lot of the topics really hit, or bullet items really hit, what teachers need to do, and principals in the sense of their connection with their students too. But how do we do this as a school-wide effort? Well, I think this is where your grade levels and your departments come into play, and that it becomes an important tool that you're working together, that you have common schedules. So again, back to talking about the schedule and getting the schedule out to parents. Why not have a common schedule amongst your grade level and content area? Why not have common office hours so you're supporting students, that anybody from a grade level or anybody from a content area can talk to a teacher in that grade level or in that particular content level all day long, and different teachers have different times, so that all issues and all parents can be helped out and all students can be helped out at the convenience of the parent and the convenience of the student, not necessarily the convenience of the teacher. And then the final one that always gets asked when you ask about engagement is the secondary teacher, the middle school and high school teacher. How do you handle engagement at that level? With some of our middle school teachers having 125 to 180, and some of our high schools having 150 to 180 students, just massive amounts of students. How do we keep them constantly engaged? Well, most importantly, make sure your virtual hours that you're working together with your content team, maybe not your department team, but your content team. So all algebra teams are working together, and you're having virtual hours throughout the day so kids can connect with a teacher and help out. The other one is also plan and support those virtual office hours with groups of students. And you don't even have to participate. You could just be setting it up and say, hey, I've got a group of kids that seem to be having a question about how to figure out this math problem. So I've set up a time. They've all seemed to be at this time. Anybody from the class can join that team. Please let me know so you can sign up if you'd like to join that team and listen to the discussion that these students and participate in this discussion. So you could have those, you could set up those kinds of things with the other. The other thing is too, is really collect the data. It is always about the data. Who are the kids that aren't taking advantage, or the families that aren't taking advantage of your support system? Those students will need to be reached out individually and checked on. And it doesn't mean teachers are necessarily individually connecting with those students, but all adults on a high school campus, all adults on a middle school campus have a group of students that they're trying to connect with. And these are the students that are the ones that are hard to connect with. So what you're trying to do at that point is you're trying to put a significant adult in the life of this child, and that significant adult is at the school.